Hi, this is Michael, your storyteller. Welcome to our channel Frightening Tales. Story number 1. The Whispering Walls. Fade in. EXT. Old Victorian House, Day. A large, decrepit Victorian house stands isolated on a hill. The sky is overcast, and the wind howls through the trees. A moving truck is parked outside. Emily, 30s, optimistic, and James, 30s, skeptical, step out of their car, staring at their new home. Emily. Cheerful. It's perfect. Just needs a little love. James. Skeptical. And a lot of money. This place is a wreck. Emily. Smiling. It's our wreck. Come on, let's explore. They walk toward the house, the camera lingering on the darkened windows. Int. House, living room, day. The couple steps inside. Dust covers the furniture, and the air feels heavy. Emily runs her hand along the wall, leaving a trail in the dust. Emily. Whispering. Can you feel it? The history. James. Sarcastic. Yeah, I feel it. It's called mold. Emily laughs, but the sound echoes unnaturally. James frowns, glancing around. James. Quietly. This place gives me the creeps. Emily. Teasing. You're just scared of a little dust. She walks off, exploring. James shakes his head and follows. Int. House, master bedroom, night. The couple lies in bed, the room lit by a single lamp. The wind howls outside. Emily is reading a book, while James scrolls on his phone. Emily. Softly. Do you hear that? James. Not looking up. Hear what? Emily. Listening. Whispering. James pauses, listening. The room is silent. James. It's just the wind. Go to sleep. Emily hesitates, then turns off the lamp. The room plunges into darkness. Int. House, hallway, night. Emily wakes up to the sound of faint whispers. She sits up, glancing at James, who is fast asleep. She grabs a flashlight and steps into the hallway. The whispers grow louder, coming from the walls. Emily presses her ear against the wall, her breath visible in the cold air. Emily. Whispering. Hello. The whispers stop abruptly. Emily pulls back, unnerved. She shines the flashlight down the hallway, which seems to stretch longer than before. Suddenly, a faint voice echoes from the walls. Whisper, VO. Get out. Emily gasps and runs back to the bedroom. Int. House, living room, day. James is repairing a broken cabinet while Emily researches the house on her laptop. Emily. Excited. James, listen to this. The house was built in 1890 by a wealthy family. But the family disappeared mysteriously in 1923. James. Sarcastic. Great. We bought a murder house. Emily. Ignoring him. And get this, the house was later used by a cult for rituals. They believed they could communicate with the dead. James stops working, looking uneasy. James. Serious. Emily, maybe we should have done more research before buying this place. Emily. Defensive. It's just history. It's not like the walls are actually whispering. The room falls silent. The faint sound of whispers begins again, louder this time. Both Emily and James freeze. James. Quietly. You heard that, right? Emily nods, her face pale. Int. House, basement, night. Emily and James descend into the basement, armed with flashlights. The air is damp, and the walls are covered in strange symbols. James. Nervous. This is a bad idea. Emily. Determined. We need to know what's happening. They find an old journal on a dusty table. Emily opens it, revealing handwritten notes and drawings of occult rituals. Emily. Reading. The walls are alive. They speak to us. We must feed them to keep them silent. Suddenly, the whispers grow deafening. The walls seem to pulse, and the symbols begin to glow faintly. James. Panicked. We need to get out of here. They run for the stairs, but the door slams shut. The whispers turn into screams. The walls begin to crack, and shadowy hands reach out. Int. House, living room, night. Emily and James barricade themselves in the living room. The whispers are everywhere, and the walls are closing in. Emily. Terrified. What do we do? James. Desperate. We leave. Now. They grab their keys and head for the door, but it won't open. The whispers grow louder, more urgent. Whisper, VO. Stay. Emily. Screaming. Let us go. Suddenly, the whispers stop. The house falls silent. Emily and James exchange a relieved look. James. Whispering. Is it over? Before Emily can answer, the walls begin to crack again. This time, the shadowy hands grab them, pulling them into the walls. Int. House, living room, day. The house is silent. The moving truck is gone. The camera pans to the walls, where faint whispers can be heard. Whisper, VO. Welcome home. The screen fades to black. Fade out. The end. Story number 2. Title, The Forgotten Game. Fade in. EXT. Abandoned house, day. A group of friends, Lucas, 20s, the leader, missing in action, 20s, skeptical, Ethan, 20s, jokester, and Sophie, 20s, quiet and observant, stand outside an old, abandoned house. The windows are boarded up, and the yard is overgrown. Lucas. Excited. This is it. The house from the stories. Missing in action. Skeptical. It's just a creepy old house. Can we go now? Ethan. Grinning. Where's your sense of adventure, Mia? Sophie. Quietly. I don't like this place. Lucas ignores them and pushes open the creaky front door. The group reluctantly follows. Int. Abandoned house, living room, day. The interior is dark and dusty. The friends explore cautiously, their flashlights cutting through the gloom. Sophie notices an old, ornate box on a dusty table. Sophie. Softly. Guys, look at this. The group gathers around the box. It's a board game, its surface covered in intricate carvings and symbols. Lucas picks it up, blowing off the dust. Lucas. Smiling. Looks like we found our entertainment for the night. Missing in action. Skeptical. We're not playing some creepy old game. Ethan. Teasing. Scared, Mia. Mia rolls her eyes but doesn't protest as Lucas opens the box. Inside are strange pieces, a spinner, and a folded game board. Int. Abandoned house, living room, night. The group sits around the game board, which is now set up. The room is lit by a single lantern. The atmosphere is tense. Lucas. Reading the rules. The forgotten game, spin the wheel, move your piece, and face your fate. Ethan. Grinning. Sounds fun. Sophie. Uneasy. I don't think we should play this. Lucas. Dismissive. Relax, Sophie. It's just a game. Lucas spins the wheel. It lands on a symbol that looks like a screaming face. He moves his piece, and the room grows colder. Suddenly, the lantern flickers. The friends exchange nervous glances. Missing in action. Nervous. Did you feel that? Before anyone can answer, the game board glows faintly. The friends stare in shock as the symbol Lucas landed on begins to smoke. Ethan. Nervous laugh. Okay, that's a neat trick. Suddenly, a loud bang echoes through the house. The friends jump. Sophie. Whispering. We need to stop playing. Lucas. Defiant. No way. It's my turn again. He spins the wheel. It lands on a different symbol, a pair of eyes. The room darkens, and the temperature drops further. Hint. Abandoned house, hallway, night. The friends hear a faint whisper coming from the hallway. Ethan stands up, trying to act brave. Ethan. Jokingly. Hello. Anyone there? The whisper grows louder, more menacing. Suddenly, a shadowy figure appears at the end of the hallway. The friends scream. Missing in action. Panicked. What the hell is that? The figure vanishes as quickly as it appeared. The friends are visibly shaken. Sophie. Pleading. We need to leave. Now. Lucas. Stubborn. Not until we finish the game. Hint. Abandoned house, living room, night. The game continues. Mia spins the wheel next. It lands on a symbol of a hand. Suddenly, the lantern goes out, plunging the room into darkness. When the light returns, Mia is gone. The friends stare at her empty seat in horror. Ethan. Panicked. Mia. Where are you? Sophie. Terrified. This isn't a game. It's a trap. Lucas looks shaken but refuses to stop. He spins the wheel again. It lands on a symbol of a mouth. Suddenly, the walls begin to whisper. The whispers grow louder, more chaotic. Ethan covers his ears, screaming. Ethan. Stumbling back. Make it stop. The whispers stop abruptly. Ethan collapses, unconscious. Sophie and Lucas stare in horror. Sophie. Pleading. Lucas, please. We have to stop. Lucas. Desperate. We can't. The rules say we have to finish. Hint. Abandoned house, living room, night. Sophie spins the wheel. It lands on a symbol of a heart. She freezes, clutching her chest. Sophie. Gasping. Something's wrong. She collapses, her eyes wide and unseeing. Lucas is now alone, trembling as he stares at the game. Lucas. Whispering. This isn't real. This isn't real. He spins the wheel one last time. It lands on a symbol of a skull. The room goes silent. Suddenly, the shadowy figure appears behind Lucas. He turns, screaming as it grabs him. The screen goes black. Hint. Abandoned house, living room, day. The house is silent. The game board is back in its box, sitting on the table as if untouched. The camera pans to the wall, where faint whispers can be heard. Whisper, VO. Play again. The screen fades to black. Fade out. The end. Story number 3. Title, The Reflection That Watches. Fade in. Hint. Apartment, bathroom, night. The camera focuses on a mirror above a sink. The room is dimly lit. Clara, 30s, tired and stressed, stands in front of the mirror, brushing her hair. She looks exhausted, her eyes hollow. She pauses, staring at her reflection. For a brief moment, her reflection smiles at her, a subtle, unnatural smile. Clara blinks, and the reflection returns to normal. Clara. Whispering to herself. I need sleep. She shakes her head and leaves the bathroom. Int. Apartment, living room, night. Clara sits on the couch, scrolling through her phone. The TV is on, but the volume is low. She glances toward the hallway, where the bathroom door is slightly ajar. The faint sound of whispering comes from the bathroom. Clara freezes, listening. Clara. Calling out. Hello. No response. She hesitates, then gets up and walks to the bathroom. Int. Apartment, bathroom, night. Clara steps into the bathroom. The whispering stops. She looks around, then faces the mirror. Her reflection stares back at her, normal. Clara. Whispering. Get it together, Clara. She splashes water on her face and looks up. Her reflection is still there, but its eyes are slightly wider, its expression more intense. Clara steps back, unnerved. She turns off the light and leaves the bathroom. Int. Apartment, bedroom, night. Clara lies in bed, staring at the ceiling. The room is dark, but a faint light from the hallway spills under the door. Suddenly, the sound of whispering begins again, louder this time. Clara sits up, her heart racing. Clara. Whispering. This isn't real. This isn't real. The whispering stops. Clara takes a deep breath and lies back down. As she closes her eyes, the camera pans to the mirror on her dresser. Her reflection sits up in the mirror, staring at her. Int. Apartment, bathroom, day. Clara stands in front of the mirror again, applying makeup. She looks tired, her hands slightly shaking. She pauses, staring at her reflection. This time, her reflection blinks out of sync with her. Clara freezes. Clara. Whispering. What the hell? Her reflection tilts its head, studying her. Clara steps back, her breath quickening. Clara. Panicked. Stop it. The reflection smirks, then returns to normal. Clara grabs a towel and throws it over the mirror. Int. Apartment, living room, day. Clara sits on the couch, her hands trembling. She calls her friend, Lena, 30s, pragmatic, who answers on speakerphone. Lena, VO. Clara, you're just stressed. It's probably sleep deprivation. Clara. Desperate. It's not in my head, Lena. My reflection, it's alive. Lena, VO. Sighing. Okay, okay. I'll come over tonight. We'll figure this out. Clara hangs up, relieved but still uneasy. Int. Apartment, bathroom, night. Clara and Lena stand in front of the mirror. Lena looks skeptical. Lena. Sarcastic. So, what? Your reflection's gonna start dancing or something. Clara. Serious. Just watch. They stare at the mirror. Nothing happens. Lena raises an eyebrow. Lena. See. Nothing. You're just. Suddenly, Clara reflection smiles at them. Lena freezes, her eyes widening. Lena. Whispering. What the hell? The reflection steps closer to the mirror, its face pressing against the glass. Clara and Lena stumble back, screaming. Int. Apartment, living room, night. Clara and Lena sit on the couch, visibly shaken. Lena is pacing. Lena. Panicked. Okay, that was not normal. What do we do? Clara. Desperate. I don't know. It's like it's trying to get out. Suddenly, the sound of glass cracking comes from the bathroom. They exchange a terrified look and run to investigate. Int. Apartment, bathroom, night. The mirror is cracked, and the reflection is gone. Clara and Lena stare in horror. Lena, whispering, "Where is it?" Suddenly, the reflection appears behind them in the mirror. It steps out of the mirror, its form shifting into a shadowy figure. Clara and Lena scream as the figure grabs Lena, pulling her into the mirror. Clara tries to help, but the figure shoves her back. Hint. Apartment, living room, night. Clara stumbles into the living room, her face pale. She looks at the mirror on the wall, where Lena's reflection now stares back at her, terrified. Lena, VO. Pleading. "Clara, help me." Clara grabs a hammer and smashes the mirror. The glass shatters, but the reflections remain, their faces twisted in anger. Int. Apartment, bathroom, night. Clara sits on the floor, surrounded by shattered mirrors. Her reflection watches her from every shard, smiling. Reflection, VO. "You can't escape me." Clara covers her ears, screaming. Hint. Apartment, living room, day. The apartment is silent. The camera pans to the mirror on the wall, where Clara's reflection stares back, smiling. The real Clara is nowhere to be seen. Reflection, VO. "Welcome to my world." The screen fades to black. Fade out. The end. Story number 4. Title, The Last Broadcast. Fade in. Int. Radio station, night. A small, dimly lit radio station. The room is cluttered with equipment. Jason, 30s, tired but charismatic, sits at the desk, wearing headphones. He speaks into the microphone, his voice smooth and calm. Jason. Into mic. "You're listening to Nightlight Radio, the voice in the dark. I'm your host, Jason Cole. Let's take our next caller." He presses a button, and a caller's voice comes through the speakers. The voice is distorted, faint, and filled with static. Caller, VO. Panicked. "Hello. Can anyone hear me?" Jason. Into mic. "I hear you loud and clear. What's your name, and where are you calling from?" Caller, VO. Terrified. "My name's Mark. I'm in a bunker. I don't know where it is. Please, you have to help me." Jason raises an eyebrow, intrigued. Jason. Into mic. "A bunker? What's going on, Mark?" Caller, VO. Whispering. "I'm not alone down here. There's something with me." The line crackles with static. Jason adjusts the dials, trying to clear the signal. Jason. Into mic. "Mark, can you describe what you're seeing?" Caller, VO. Terrified. "It's dark. So dark. But I can hear it moving. It's getting closer." Jason leans forward, his tone serious. Jason. Into mic. "Mark, stay calm. Can you tell me how you got there?" Caller, VO. Panicked. "I don't know. I woke up here. The door's sealed. I can't get out. Please, you have to send help." Jason hesitates, glancing at the producer's booth. It's empty. He's alone. Jason. Into mic. "Mark, I'll try to get you help. Can you give me any clues about your location?" Caller, VO. Desperate. "There's a symbol on the wall. A circle with lines through it. And the date 1963. Jason's eyes widen. He quickly types on his computer, searching for information. Jason. Into mic. "Mark, I'm looking into this. Stay with me, okay?" Caller, VO. Whispering. "It's here." The line goes silent. Jason waits, his heart racing. Jason. Into mic. Mark. Mark, are you there? Suddenly, the caller's voice returns, but it's distorted and unnatural. Caller, VO. Guttural. You shouldn't have answered. The line goes dead. Jason sits back, stunned. Int. Radio station, night. Jason paces the room, trying to process what just happened. He picks up his phone and dials a number. Jason. Into phone. Hey, it's Jason. I need a favor. Can you look up a symbol for me? A circle with lines through it, associated with a bunker from 1963. He waits, listening to the response. His face grows pale. Jason. Into phone. Are you sure? Thanks. He hangs up and sits down, staring at the microphone. Jason. Whispering. This can't be real. Int. Radio station, night. Jason is back on the air. He looks visibly shaken but tries to maintain his composure. Jason. Into mic. We're back on Nightlight Radio. Let's take another caller. He presses a button, and the same caller's voice comes through. Caller, VO. Terrified. Jason, it's me again. Please, you have to help me. Jason. Into mic. Mark, listen to me. The bunker you're in it was destroyed in 1963. Everyone inside died. Caller, VO. Desperate. No, that's not possible. I'm here. I'm alive. Jason. Into mic. Mark, I'm sorry. I don't know how you're calling me, but... Suddenly, the caller's voice changes, becoming deeper and more menacing. Caller, VO. Guttural. You're wrong, Jason. I'm not Mark. Jason freezes, his blood running cold. Caller, VO. Guttural. I'm what's left of him. The line crackles with static. Jason pulls off his headphones, but the voice continues to echo through the speakers. Caller, VO. Guttural. And now, you're mine. The lights in the station flicker and go out. Jason stumbles back, his breath quickening. Int. Radio station, night. Jason grabs a flashlight and searches the station. The air grows colder, and the sound of whispering fills the room. Jason. Whispering. This isn't real. This isn't real. Suddenly, the caller's voice echoes through the empty station. Caller, VO. Guttural. You shouldn't have answered. Jason turns, shining the flashlight toward the sound. A shadowy figure stands in the corner, its form shifting and unnatural. Jason screams, dropping the flashlight. The screen goes black. Int. Radio station, night. The station is silent. The microphone sits on the desk, still on. The camera pans to the headphones, where faint whispering can be heard. Caller, VO. Guttural. You're next. The screen fades to black. Fade out. The end. Story number 5. Title, The Shadow Beneath the Bed. Fade in. Int. Child's bedroom, night. A small, cozy bedroom. The walls are covered in colorful posters, and toys are scattered across the floor. Lucy, 8 years old, wide-eyed and nervous, lies in bed, clutching a stuffed animal. Her parents, Sarah, 30s, caring, and Mike, 30s, skeptical, sit on the edge of the bed. Lucy. Whispering. It's still there. Sarah. Soothing. Lucy, there's nothing under the bed. It's just your imagination. Mike. Slightly annoyed. We've checked 100 times. There's no monster. Lucy shakes her head, her eyes filling with tears. Lucy. Pleading. Please don't leave me alone. Sarah sighs, brushing Lucy's hair. Sarah. Softly. We'll leave the door open, okay? And the night lights on. You'll be fine. Mike stands up, heading for the door. Mike. Grumbling. Kids and their monsters. Sarah gives Lucy a reassuring smile and follows Mike out, leaving the door slightly ajar. Int. Child's bedroom, night. Lucy lies in bed, staring at the ceiling. The night light casts a soft glow, but the shadows in the room seem darker than usual. She clutches her stuffed animal tighter. Suddenly, a faint scratching sound comes from under the bed. Lucy freezes, her eyes wide. Lucy. Whispering. Go away. The scratching stops. Lucy hesitates, then slowly leans over the edge of the bed, peeking underneath. The space under the bed is dark and empty. Lucy sighs in relief and lies back down. But then, a low, guttural growl echoes from beneath the bed. Lucy screams, pulling the covers over her head. Int. Parents' bedroom, night. Sarah and Mike are asleep. The sound of Lucy's scream wakes them. Sarah sits up, alarmed. Sarah. Panicked. Mike, did you hear that? Mike. Groggy. Hear what? Before Sarah can answer, Lucy bursts into the room, crying. Lucy. Sobbing. It's back. It's under my bed. Sarah gets up, hugging Lucy. Sarah. Soothing. SHH, it's okay. We'll check again. Mike groans, getting out of bed. Mike. Annoyed. This is getting ridiculous. Int. Child's bedroom, night. Sarah and Mike stand in Lucy's room. Mike kneels down, shining a flashlight under the bed. Mike. Sarcastic. Wow, look at that. Nothing. Sarah glares at him, then turns to Lucy. Sarah. Softly. See, Lucy. There's nothing there. Lucy shakes her head, her eyes filled with fear. Lucy. Whispering. It only comes when I'm alone. Mike rolls his eyes, standing up. Mike. Grumbling. Enough of this. Lucy, you're too old for this nonsense. Sarah gives him a disapproving look, then kneels in front of Lucy. Sarah. Soothing. How about I stay with you tonight? Lucy nods, clinging to her mother. Mike sighs, heading back to their bedroom. Int. Child's bedroom, night. Sarah lies next to Lucy in bed, stroking her hair. Lucy's eyes are heavy, and she slowly drifts off to sleep. Sarah watches her for a moment, then carefully gets up, tiptoeing out of the room. She leaves the door slightly ajar. As soon as Sarah leaves, the room grows colder. The night light flickers, and the shadows seem to shift. Suddenly, a low growl comes from under the bed. Lucy's eyes snap open, and she sits up, terrified. Lucy. Whispering. No. The bed begins to shake. Lucy screams, scrambling to the edge of the bed. A shadowy hand reaches out from beneath the bed, grabbing her ankle. Lucy. Screaming. Mom. Dad. Int. Parents' bedroom, night. Sarah and Mike hear Lucy's screams and bolt out of bed, running to her room. Int. Child's bedroom, night. Sarah and Mike burst into the room. Lucy is gone. The bed is empty, the covers thrown aside. Sarah. Panicked. Lucy. Mike. Terrified. Where is she? They search the room frantically, but there's no sign of Lucy. Sarah notices something under the bed and kneels down, shining a flashlight. The space under the bed is empty, but the floor is covered in deep scratch marks, as if something had been dragged underneath. Sarah. Whispering. Mike. Mike kneels beside her, his face pale. Suddenly, a low growl echoes from beneath the bed. They both freeze. Mike. Terrified. What the hell is that? The bed begins to shake violently. Sarah and Mike stumble back, staring in horror as a shadowy figure emerges from beneath the bed. The figure is tall, its form shifting and unnatural. It lets out a guttural roar, and the room plunges into darkness. Int. Child's bedroom, day. The room is silent. The bed is neatly made, and the toys are arranged perfectly. The camera pans to the wall, where faint scratch marks can be seen. The screen fades to black. Fade out. The end. Story number 6. Title: The Vanishing Village. Fade in. EXT. Forest Road, day. A car drives down a narrow, winding road surrounded by dense forest. Inside the car are Emma, 30s, practical, Jack, 30s, skeptical, and Lucas, 20s, adventurous. The mood is light, with music playing on the radio. Emma. Annoyed. I told you we should have taken the highway. Jack. Defensive. The GPS said this was a shortcut. Lucas. Grinning. Relax, guys. It's an adventure. Suddenly, the car sputters and comes to a stop. Jack tries to restart it, but the engine won't turn over. Jack. Frustrated. Great. Just great. Emma. Sighing. We're in the middle of nowhere. Lucas. Optimistic. Maybe there's a town nearby. Let's check the map. Jack pulls out a map, but the road they're on isn't marked. Jack. Confused. That's weird. This road isn't on the map. Emma. Nervous. We're lost, aren't we? Lucas. Pointing. Look. Smoke. Maybe it's a village. In the distance, a thin column of smoke rises above the trees. EXT. Village, day. The group arrives at a small, isolated village. The houses are old and weathered, and the streets are eerily quiet. The villagers stare at them with blank expressions. Emma. Uneasy. This place gives me the creeps. Jack. Skeptical. They're probably just not used to visitors. Lucas. Grinning. Let's ask for help. They approach an elderly villager, Mr. Harris, 60s, stoic, who stands outside a small shop. Lucas. Friendly. Hi there. Our car broke down. Is there a mechanic in the village? Mr. Harris. Flatly. No mechanic. But you can stay until the storm passes. Emma. Confused. What storm? Mr. Harris points to the sky, which is clear and sunny. Mr. Harris. Ominous. It's coming. The group exchanges uneasy glances. Int. Village inn, night. The group sits in a small, dimly lit inn. The atmosphere is tense. The innkeeper, Mrs. Clay, 50s, stern, serves them food. Emma. Whispering. Did you notice? No kids. No animals. Jack. Skeptical. Maybe they're all inside. Lucas. Nervous. And why does everyone look the same age? Mrs. Clay overhears and glares at them. Mrs. Clay. Stern. You shouldn't ask questions. The group falls silent, unnerved. EXT. Village, night. The group walks through the empty streets. The air is unnaturally still, and the villagers watch them from their windows. Emma. Whispering. Something's wrong here. We need to leave. Jack. Nervous. Agreed. Let's get the car and go. Suddenly, the sound of a child's laughter echoes through the streets. They turn, but no one is there. Lucas. Terrified. Did you hear that? The laughter grows louder, more menacing. The group starts to run, but the streets seem to shift, leading them in circles. Int. Village church, night. The group stumbles into an old church. The air is cold, and the walls are covered in strange symbols. Emma. Panicked. What is this place? Jack. Terrified. I don't know, but we need to get out of here. Suddenly, the doors slam shut. The villagers appear, surrounding them with blank expressions. Mr. Harris. Flatly. You shouldn't have come here. Lucas. Pleading. Please, we just want to leave. Mrs. Clay. Stern. You can't leave. The storm is coming. The villagers begin to chant in an unknown language. The ground shakes, and the symbols on the walls glow faintly. Ext. Village, night. The group manages to escape the church and runs through the village. The sky darkens, and a storm begins to rage. Emma. Screaming. This way. They reach the edge of the village, but the road they came in on is gone. In its place is a dense, endless forest. Jack. Terrified. This isn't possible. The villagers appear behind them, their faces twisted and unnatural. Mr. Harris. Ominous. You belong to the village now. The group screams as the villagers close in. Ext. Forest Road, day. The car sits abandoned on the side of the road. A passerby stops, noticing the empty vehicle. Passerby. Calling out. Hello. Anyone here? The forest is silent. The passerby shrugs and drives away. Ext. Village, day. The village is empty, the houses crumbling and overgrown. The camera pans to a sign at the entrance, weathered and barely readable, Welcome to Black Hollow Population, 0. The screen fades to black. Fade out. The end. Story number 7. Title, The Sleep Experiment. Fade in. Int. Laboratory, night. A dimly lit laboratory filled with monitors, wires, and medical equipment. Dr. Harris, 40s, stern and focused, adjusts a machine while Ethan, 20s, tired but determined, sits in a chair, hooked up to various sensors. Dr. Harris. Calm. How are you feeling, Ethan? Ethan. Tired. Exhausted. But I can do this. Dr. Harris. Nods. Good. Remember, the goal is to see how long you can stay awake. We're breaking new ground here. Ethan nods, rubbing his eyes. The camera focuses on a monitor showing his vital signs. Int. Laboratory, night. Hours pass. Ethan is visibly struggling to stay awake. Dr. Harris monitors him closely, taking notes. Ethan. Slurring. How long has it been? Dr. Harris. Glancing at the clock. 72 hours. You're doing great. Ethan's eyes droop, but he forces them open. Suddenly, he sees something move in the corner of the room. He jerks upright, startled. Ethan. Panicked. Did you see that? Dr. Harris. Calm. See what? Ethan. Pointing. There was something, in the corner. Dr. Harris looks but sees nothing. Dr. Harris. Flatly. It's just your mind playing tricks. Stay focused. Ethan nods, but his eyes dart around the room nervously. Hint. Laboratory, night. Ethan is now hallucinating. The room seems to shift and warp around him. Shadows move on their own, and faint whispers fill the air. Ethan. Terrified. Do you hear that? Dr. Harris. Impatient. Hear what? There's nothing there. Ethan. Pleading. Please, I need to sleep. Just for a few minutes. Dr. Harris. Stern. No. You agreed to this. We're almost there. Ethan slumps in his chair, his breathing ragged. The hallucinations grow worse. He sees a shadowy figure standing in the corner, watching him. Ethan. Screaming. Get away from me. Dr. Harris looks up, annoyed. Dr. Harris. Sharp. Ethan, control yourself. Ethan stares at the figure, which steps closer. Its face is distorted, its eyes glowing. Ethan. Whispering. It's real. Int. Laboratory, night. Ethan is now in a state of panic. The shadowy figure is everywhere, taunting him. Dr. Harris watches the monitors, fascinated. Dr. Harris. To himself. Fascinating. The hallucinations are becoming more vivid. Ethan grabs Dr. Harris's arm, desperate. Ethan. Pleading. Please, you have to stop this. It's not just in my head. Dr. Harris. Cold. It's all in your head, Ethan. That's the point. Suddenly, the lights flicker. The shadowy figure appears behind Dr. Harris, its hand on his shoulder. Ethan screams. Ethan. Screaming. Behind you. Dr. Harris turns, but sees nothing. He sighs, exasperated. Dr. Harris. Sharp. Enough, Ethan. You're losing control. The shadowy figure leans in, whispering something in Dr. Harris's ear. His expression changes to one of fear. Dr. Harris. Terrified. What is that? Ethan stares in horror as the figure begins to engulf Dr. Harris, who screams and collapses. Int. Laboratory, night. Ethan is alone, the machines beeping erratically. The shadowy figure stands in the center of the room, its form shifting and growing. Ethan. Whispering. What do you want? The figure doesn't respond. Instead, it points to the door. Ethan stumbles to his feet, unhooking himself from the machines. Ethan. Pleading. Please, just let me go. The figure steps closer, its face inches from Ethan's. He screams as the screen goes black. Int. Laboratory, day. The laboratory is empty. The machines are off, and the chair is overturned. The camera pans to a monitor, which flickers to life, showing Ethan's face. He looks terrified, his eyes wide. Ethan, on screen. Whispering. It's not over. The screen fades to black. Fade out. The end. Story number 8. Title, The Cursed Camera. Fade in. EXT. Flea market, day. A bustling flea market. Vendors call out to passers-by, and the air is filled with the sound of chatter and music. Lucy, 30s, curious and artistic, browses through a stall filled with old trinkets. She picks up an old, vintage camera. It's ornate, with intricate carvings and a faintly ominous aura. The vendor, Mr. Graves, 60s, mysterious, watches her closely. Lucy. Smiling. How much for this? Mr. Graves. Flatly. That's not for sale. Lucy. Confused. Then why is it on display? Mr. Graves. Ominous. It chooses its owner. And it's chosen you. Lucy hesitates, then hands him some money. Lucy. Smiling. I'll take it. Mr. Graves watches her leave, his expression unreadable. Int. Lucy's apartment, night. Lucy sits at her desk, examining the camera. She loads it with film and takes a test photo of her apartment. The flash is blinding. When the photo prints, Lucy picks it up and freezes. In the corner of the photo, a shadowy figure stands, its face twisted and unnatural. Lucy. Whispering. What the hell? She shakes her head, dismissing it as a trick of the light, and sets the photo aside. Ext. City Street, day. Lucy walks through the city, taking photos with the camera. Each time she takes a picture, the flash is unnaturally bright. She takes a photo of a busy street. When the photo prints, the people in the image are distorted, their faces blank and featureless. Lucy. Uneasy. This can't be right. She takes another photo, this time of a park. The photo shows a dark, shadowy figure lurking in the background, its eyes glowing. Int. Lucy's apartment, night. Lucy spreads the photos out on her desk, staring at them in horror. Each one contains something unnatural: shadowy figures, distorted faces, and eerie symbols. Lucy. Whispering. What is this? Suddenly, the camera clicks on its own. Lucy jumps, staring at it. The camera clicks again, and a photo prints out. Lucy picks it up, her hands trembling. The photo shows her apartment, but the shadowy figure from the first photo is now standing behind her. She spins around, but the room is empty. The air grows colder, and the lights flicker. Int. Lucy's apartment, night. Lucy is now frantic. She tries to destroy the camera, smashing it against the wall, but it remains unscathed. Lucy. Panicked. What do you want from me? The camera clicks again, printing another photo. This one shows Lucy lying on the floor, her eyes wide and lifeless. Lucy. Terrified. No. Suddenly, the shadowy figure appears in the room, its form shifting and unnatural. Lucy screams, backing away. Shadowy figure. Guttural. You shouldn't have taken the camera. Lucy grabs the camera and points it at the figure, pressing the shutter. The flash is blinding, and the figure screams, its form dissolving into smoke. Int. Lucy's apartment, day. The apartment is silent. The camera sits on the desk, untouched. Lucy is gone. The camera pans to a photo on the desk. It shows Lucy standing in the apartment, her face blank and featureless, the shadowy figure standing behind her. The screen fades to black. Fade out. The end. Story number 9. Title: The Doll Maker. Fade in. Ext. Small town, day. A quiet, picturesque town surrounded by dense forest. The camera pans to a missing person poster on a bulletin board. The face of a young girl stares back, her name Lily written below. Int. Police station, day. Detective Sarah Miller, 40s, determined, sits at her desk, surrounded by files and photos of missing persons. Each file has a photo of a handmade doll placed at the scene of the disappearance. Sarah. Frustrated. Another one. Her partner, Officer Tom Harris, 30s, skeptical, walks in, holding an evidence bag with a doll inside. Tom. Sighing. Found this near the woods. Same as the others. Sarah takes the doll, examining it. It's eerily lifelike, with glassy eyes and a faint smile. Sarah. Whispering. What the hell is going on in this town? Ext. Forest, day. Sarah and Tom search the woods near where the doll was found. The atmosphere is tense, the trees casting long shadows. Tom: nervous. You really think there's a connection between these dolls and the disappearances? Sarah: determined. I don't believe in coincidences. They come across a small, hidden cabin. The windows are dark, and the air feels heavy. Tom: uneasy. This place gives me the creeps. Sarah: steely. Let's check it out. Int. Cabin, day. The cabin is cluttered with tools, fabric, and half-finished dolls. The walls are covered in sketches of people's faces. Sarah picks up a doll, its face strikingly similar to one of the missing persons. Sarah: whispering. This is it. Suddenly, a faint whisper echoes through the cabin. Sarah and Tom freeze, their eyes darting around. Tom: terrified. Did you hear that? Before Sarah can answer, a door creaks open, revealing a dark hallway. The whispers grow louder, more menacing. Int. Cabin, back room, day. Sarah and Tom enter the back room, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. The room is filled with dolls, each one eerily lifelike. Tom: whispering. This is insane. Sarah notices a workbench with a doll in progress. The face is unmistakably hers. Sarah: terrified. Tom: we need to go. Now. Suddenly, the door slams shut behind them. The whispers turn into laughter, and the dolls begin to move, their heads turning to face Sarah and Tom. Tom: screaming. What the hell is this? A shadowy figure steps out of the darkness. It's the doll maker, 50s, gaunt and sinister, holding a needle and thread. Doll maker: guttural. You shouldn't have come here. Int. Cabin, back room, night. Sarah and Tom are tied to chairs, surrounded by dolls. The doll maker works on a new doll, humming softly. Sarah: pleading. Why are you doing this? Doll maker: calm. Every doll needs a soul. Tom struggles against his restraints, his face pale. Tom: terrified. You're insane. The doll maker smiles, holding up a doll that looks just like Tom. Doll maker: softly. You'll make a fine addition. Int. Cabin, back room, night. Sarah manages to free herself, grabbing a pair of scissors. She lunges at the doll maker, stabbing him in the shoulder. Doll maker: screaming. You'll regret this. Sarah unties Tom, and they run for the door. The doll maker grabs Sarah's arm, his grip like iron. Doll maker: guttural. You can't escape. Sarah stabs him again, and he collapses. She and Tom burst out of the cabin, running into the night. Ext. Forest, night. Sarah and Tom stumble through the woods, the sound of the doll maker's laughter echoing behind them. Tom: panicked. We need to get out of here. Sarah: determined. We're not safe until he's gone. They reach the edge of the forest, but the doll maker appears in front of them, his face twisted with rage. Doll maker: guttural. You belong to me now. Sarah grabs a rock and throws it at him, hitting him in the head. He collapses, and they run toward the town. Int. Police station, day. Sarah sits at her desk, staring at a doll that looks just like the doll maker. Tom walks in, looking uneasy. Tom: nervous. You think it's over? Sarah: whispering. I don't know. The camera pans to the doll, its glassy eyes staring back. The screen fades to black. Fade out. The end. Story number 10. Title: The Endless Hallway. Fade in. Int. Hallway, night. A long, dimly lit hallway stretches into infinity. The walls are lined with identical doors, and the air is thick with tension. David, 30s, disoriented, wakes up on the floor, groaning. David. Whispering. Where am I? He stands up, looking around. The hallway seems to go on forever in both directions. The only sound is the faint hum of fluorescent lights. David. Calling out. Hello. Is anyone here? No response. David tries one of the doors, but it's locked. He moves to the next one, but it's also locked. David. Frustrated. What the hell is this? Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoes from behind him. David spins around, but the hallway is empty. David. Nervous. Who's there? The footsteps grow louder, faster. David starts walking, then breaks into a run. The hallway seems to stretch endlessly, the doors blurring together. Int. Hallway, night. David stops, panting. The footsteps have stopped, but the air feels heavier. He notices something on the floor, a photograph of himself, taken moments ago. David. Whispering. This isn't possible. He picks up the photo, his hands trembling. Suddenly, the sound of whispering fills the air. David looks around, but there's no one there. Whisper, VO. You can't escape. David drops the photo and starts running again. The hallway twists and turns, the walls closing in. Int. Hallway, night. David stops in front of a door that's slightly ajar. He hesitates, then pushes it open. Inside is a room that looks exactly like his childhood bedroom. David. Whispering. No. This can't be real. He steps inside, the air thick with nostalgia. The walls are covered in posters, and a toy box sits in the corner. Suddenly, the door slams shut behind him. David. Panicked. Let me out. He tries to open the door, but it's locked. The room begins to change, the walls cracking and the posters peeling away. The toy box rattles, and a shadowy hand reaches out. David. Screaming. No. He grabs a chair and smashes the window, climbing out into the hallway. Int. Hallway, night. David runs down the hallway, the shadowy figure now visible behind him. It's tall, its form shifting and unnatural. David. Terrified. Leave me alone. The figure doesn't respond, its movements slow and deliberate. David turns a corner and finds himself face to face with a mirror. His reflection stares back, but its eyes are black and hollow. David. Whispering. What are you? The reflection smiles, stepping out of the mirror. David stumbles back, screaming. Int. Hallway, night. David wakes up on the floor of the hallway, disoriented. The shadowy figure is gone, but the air is still heavy. David. Whispering. This isn't real. He stands up, his legs shaky. The hallway seems different now, the doors are gone, replaced by endless walls. David. Pleading. Please, just let me out. The sound of footsteps echoes again, this time from all directions. David spins around, but there's no one there. Whisper, VO. You belong here. David starts running, but the hallway twists and turns, leading him in circles. The shadowy figure appears in front of him, its form towering and menacing. David. Screaming. What do you want from me? The figure doesn't respond. Instead, it reaches out, its hand passing through David's chest. He collapses, his eyes wide and lifeless. Int. Hallway, night. The hallway is silent. The camera pans to the floor, where a photograph of David lies. His face is blank, his eyes hollow. The screen fades to black. Fade out. The end.